Blood runs cold in WCW. Should have been blood runs slow. Now, how do you spend $500,000 to create a character? You rip off Mortal Kombat. If you remember back to 1996, Mortal Kombat was one of the most popular video game franchises at the time. I went to the arcade, it was on every console, everybody loved it, including kids who weren't supposed to be playing it because it was bloody, it was violence, it actually introduced the ESRB, but that's another topic for another video. What did WCW do? They say, well, look at this popular game, right? Let's try and capitalize on it, and in comes Glacier. Now, Glacier was just a blatant ripoff of Sub-Zero for Mortal Kombat, but it was cool. They literally spent $500,000 on his entrance. They had fake snow, they had pyro, they had laser lights, and they had the whole ring surrounded in blue. It was a cool entrance when he finally debuted, but it took him 6 months to get there. Here's problem number one. They thought of the idea of Glacier. A martial arts guy from Japan, got some stupid helmet, put it on, and he got his powers, or whatever you want to go with. That's kind of the idea for this. But what they did was they introduced him, then the NWO came in, and they halted him for 6 months. They finally said, okay, this is the right time, let's bring him in. And while they did that, they actually aired the promos leading up to then. So they had 6 months of promos for a character. Now, when he actually got into the ring, the crowd was very silent. I don't think the crowd really understood what they were watching. The whole ring was blue, so it was sort of like the Sin Cara look, if you guys remember that. It was very blue, and they wrestled in that twice, I believe, and then they went back to normal lights. Now, he had a cool moveset. He was mostly kicking. He did sweep the leg for Mortal Kombat, which was cool, but I don't know that it translated well into a wrestling match. His main finisher was the cryonic kick, which was just a super kick. Now, he did have a cool feud with Mortis, who was basically another video game character ripoff. It was Canyon's character. It was basically like Scorpion versus Sub-Zero when you had Mortis taking on Glacier. But let's talk about the end of the character, right? So he didn't really do much. He had an undefeated streak for about a year. Then he just became a mid-card guy. But as time was coming down and it was coming to 1999, WCW was at a different point than they were in 1996. In 1999, they thought, let's do a lot of real backstage, shoot promos, stuff like that people can say, is that real or is it not real? I don't know. Is it worked or is it shoot? So what did they do? They had Glacier sell his ring attire.
So what I've been thinking is, along with all this, what you need is the greatest, grandest entrance of all time. The lights, the lasers, that snow machine that kicks out all that snow. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking the cat needs all that.
So Glacier sold his ring attire, and the character was no more. That was the end of the gimmick. Selling your ring attire is the ultimate end for the character. He sold it for way more than it was worth. Actually not. When you think about it, I think it was $35,000. He only sold it for $25,000, and then another. Maybe he did get his money worth out of it. I don't know. Glacier was a fun idea. It was a cool in concept. It was great in theory, but the character never really translated well to WCW, and I don't think that it ever caught on. And I think that they were at a point where they saw what happened with the NWO. That worked so well, and then they really didn't know what to do with the rest of their roster. They had the NWO, and then they're like, I don't know, let the cruiserweights wrestle, and then that's about it. They spent $500,000 on his entrance, and he didn't really ever do anything. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of Glacier. Do you think he was cool, or do you think it was a waste of money? Let me know in the comment section below, and we'll be back with more Wrestlers Scared Stupid.
Blood runs cold. In each of us burns the fury of a warrior.